A lot of times you kind of get a special treat of something that you didn't even know you're going to get, and that's what's going to happen today. So Evangeline Lilly, she, of course, is the author of the Squickerwonkers series of books. You guys know about Squickerwonkers? If you have not checked it out, you definitely should. So what we're going to do is we are going to get to audience questions. But the first half of the panel, we're going to actually kind of give a preview of her books and display some artwork of the book and just talk a little bit about that. We're also going to bring out her very awesome, very talented artist, Rodrigo. He's going to be joining us. Rodrigo Bastos Didier. I hope I'm saying his name properly. And so that's going to be kind of showing on the screen while we talk. And then we, of course, have the books here. So after the panel, you guys can go pick up those books from Evangeline at the table as well. So, oh wait, look, I stalled for long enough that we are now ready to go. Are you guys ready for this next panel? Are you ready for me to bring out Evangeline Lilly? All right, Fan Expo Canada, I want you to make some noise for the artist of the Squickerwonkers. Make some noise for Rodrigo Bastos Didier. How do I do, Rodrigo? Is that pretty good? Good pronunciation? Pretty good? Yeah? He said it's fine, which means I mucked it up. Okay. Of course you know her from Real Steel. Of course you know her from the Hobbit franchise. You know her from Lost. And of course you know her as Marvel's badass superheroine from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Make some noise for Evangeline Lilly! Hi. Oh, wait, I don't know. What are we doing?
We're hugging it out. Hi, guys. How y'all doing?
Welcome. And of course, we have the books here on the table for you guys to check out. So as promised, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Squickerwonkers to begin with. And just kind of kick things off. For those of us out there that are not familiar with the characters, can you kind of give us a breakdown of the story and who these characters are?
Sure. The Squickerwonkers are a group of vice-ridden marionette puppets. So there is Papa the Proud, Mama the Mean, Lorna the Lazy, Andy the Arrogant, and on the list goes, there's 10 of them. And in the first book, you discover how the Squickerwonkers came to be marionette puppets, which is ultimately a cautionary tale about all of our vices. And they're books that are for children prime age 6 to 10, but I'm an undisclosed age, and I still love them. And I read them to my son when he was 3, and he loved them. So they're kind of for everybody. And I designed them that way on purpose because I have to read books to my children, and reading a book that I don't like over and over and over and over again sucks. So I wanted to make sure that these books were something that even the parents who were reading to their children could enjoy.
Well, and you said that, I mean, it was even... This was something that, as a child, you defined yourself as a reluctant reader. Explain what that is and how, like, who you were looking to as a child, like what you were reading and how that may have inspired Squickerwonkers later on.
I was a little girl who was a very, very, very slow reader, but I was smart. And so books frustrated me to no end because I felt like they were always talking down to me, or too long, really, for me to keep up with. I just couldn't get through a novel when every other kid my age could get through a novel. And so that's what we nowadays call, because there's a name for everything nowadays, a reluctant reader. And my son is actually also a reluctant reader, and I think there's no surprise that we were both in immersion schools. J'ai été en immersion français pour vous qui parlez français ici. Même si j'ai été née en Alberta. And my son is in Hawaiian immersion school. So for us, our literary second language is English. So reading English books was a struggle. And so although these books are sort of designed in my heart of hearts for reluctant readers, they do spread a breadth of readers. I mean, if you've got a 5-year-old who's quite advanced, they're going to love it. If you've got a 10-year-old who's reluctant, they're going to love it. And an 8-year-old, it's probably the sweet spot.
Well, and Rodrigo, these the characters in this book, it's not all unicorns and rainbows. There's like kind of like a grittiness, if you will, that really is reminiscent of Roald Dahl and Edward Gorey and like Charles Addams even. So I mean, for you, talk about how you brought that out in the artwork and how we're sort of seeing that kind of flair in the artwork.
Hi, everybody. I have a very classic style of paint and drawing. So, and I always saw in children's book a very simplistic illustrations and also in cartoons. But I always loved that shading, the texture, the things that brings reality to the illustration. So I think I could bring to the book something that is more like sophisticated and in a technique about it, but also in the meaning. And if you have all these characters with different vices, I could make like wood puppets with different kind of woods, with different wood grains and colors. And it was a blast to work on it. I could explore many different types of painting. Like in the same book, we have watercolors, we have drawings in pencil, we have oils, and it's kind of an art journey through it.
And when we mention vices, these characters of vices, just to kind of give you a rundown, we have Papa the Proud, Mama the Mean, Gilligan the Guilty, Greer the Greedy, Andy the Arrogant, Lorna the Lazy, Gillis the Gluttonous, Sparky the Spectacle, Megan the Mute, and our protagonist of Volume 1, Selma the Spoiled. Now, again, I mentioned Roald Dahl, and of course, I think about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and all the horrible children in that story. What is it about Selma that really made you want to anchor Volume 1? Well, and the prequel, but specifically Volume 1 on this protagonist.
Well, I think for one, of all the vices that we explore in these books, being spoiled is one that a lot of little ones can relate to. And I think in 2018, I don't know about in Canada, I've been away for a while, but I feel like that it's rampant in young kids today. I mean, we are a generation that hasn't seen war in a very long time, who hasn't suffered through depression, who really has had so much excess in our lives that children just have no concept of what it means to struggle or suffer. And so many of our children, I think, tend to be kind of spoiled, including my own. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I also love the idea of anchoring a series that will appeal to both boys and girls with a female character. It explores all of these characters, and they're basically 50-50 guys and girls. But if we start with a female protagonist, I think that's a good place to start today.
Yeah, and I would say that there's probably a lot of adults and maybe adult politicians that could learn from spoiled behavior and not to do that. So I want to talk a little bit about you're creating, as an actor, you're creating art through your day job, and you're breathing life into other people's words from the script. But with these books, it is directly, your output is directly something that you are creating from your mind to the page. But that can also be a little nerve-wracking. Has it been for you? Was it an anxious process, or was it all just like flowing out of you right away?
At first, it was flowing out, and then I tried to publish, and then I tried to self-publish, and I've tried to sort of get the books out in the world and known. And I'm an actress, and I have a platform, and still it's difficult. There's something like 3 million books made a year, and I'm an intense perfectionist. And so when I work on a film, I have the added advantage of saying, well, it's not completely in my hands. My director is responsible for it, the editor is responsible for it, the producers, and so if it really sucks, it's not all on me. But if it really sucks, that's all on me. That's my fault. And so that can be very nerve-wracking. I actually did what I'm calling a panic edit on this book before I printed it to bring to the cons. And I'm still shaking my head at myself, going, why did you do that? It was fine, it was perfect. And then I rushed through and I was like, oh, it's not right, it's not good enough. And I did this panic edit on it. And it's a sign of like how nerve-wracking it really is, thinking that people are gonna read my words, and if they're not good enough, then I won't have done what I wanted to do, which is put beautiful literature out into the children's world.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, you're the boss. You're like, controlling this entire project, but you also need someone to say, like, okay, stop. How are you? Where is that voice coming from? Is it Rodrigo? Are you telling her to stop at all? No.
I asked her to go on and keep sending me notes and ideas, and I'm great with that.
But I recently said to him, you need to stop me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, talk about this relationship, this partnership. Like, how did it come to be? And it's interesting because I think it's one that a lot of folks within the fan world at fan events can even relate to.
Yeah, I remember when I saw Evangeline's first panel in Brazil, I was sitting like right there. So, and this journey began when I saw for the first time the Squickerwonkers, the first one. There's the prequel. And I read it and I loved it at the first time. And I look at it and I said, oh my God, I want to draw something from that story. If I was the artist to do it, how do I do it? Mm-hmm. So what I did, I sent on Evangeline's Facebook a fan art. and that's why it happens. She just comment on it and like the post and say, oh my God, she really noticed me. But then the hardest part was to get in touch with her because it was just a fan art of the book. It was nothing like close to a professional relationship or anything. So what I did, I worked in a company in Brazil that is responsible for bringing the Comic-Con to Brazil. So I said, I may have a contact with Evangeline, so if you want to bring her to Brazil, I can make that happen. And what I did, I said to them, it's really important for her, the books, so if you can actually find a publisher here in Brazil that can publish that book in Portuguese, would be amazing. So that's what happens. They published the book in Portuguese, and she came to Brazil. And I was sitting over there, waiting her to finish the panel to try to talk with her and show more stuff and more work.
And he did. He got backstage to the green room because he was the guy who got me a publishing deal in Brazil, basically. And I said, yeah, of course I want to meet this guy. And he showed me all his portfolio, his sketchbooks. He came very prepared, and I was impressed. And to be honest, I was equally as impressed by this man as I was by his art, because he was so intelligent and humble and creative and open and collaborative, and he just had such a soft and loving energy that I wanted to work with him.
Well, and the artwork is very textured, and it's and there's like so much going on with it. And I feel like even though I've gone through the books a couple times, I have a feeling that I'm missing things. That there's Easter eggs. There's like little things within that. First off, can you confirm that? Are there Easter eggs?
True. So
okay.
many.
So, I mean, as I mentioned, there's so many characters in this world. I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you tease sort of what the next tales are or where we're going in future volumes of the Squickerwonkers and Squickershow?
Well, your Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reference was astute, because Volume 1 is called The Demise of Selma the Spoiled, and it's the first of 8 demise books. So the next book that we are about to start illustrating right now is called The Demise of Lorna the Lazy. And after that will be The Demise of Andy the Arrogant. And on we will go until that takes us to a completely different series that will be another 8 books. And I can't tell you where that's going to go because it's really fun and exciting. But I can say that you definitely should keep your eyes peeled, because I was on a show called Lost. And this guy is a Comic-Con fanatic. So we have laced so much mythology and Easter eggs into these books, no one's ever going to find it all. So have fun. Happy hunting.
All right. But it's not all taking place in purgatory. We can tell you that right away. All right, well, let's go ahead and throw it to an audience question. And we've got the microphone right there, so I can't really see you. I see a Dalek. But I'm going to throw your question. Hi.
And I just want to let you all know it's a wonderful, beautiful thing to be able to share my books with you and tell you about them, but I understand if you want to ask questions about other things.
I'll try to tie in both. I'm really excited about this series. I'm glad that you're leading with a female character. You've played so many strong female characters. I loved Lost. It was the only TV show that I watched every episode on TV. When you were thinking up these characters, were you drawing from characters you've played or worked with, or were they in your head from other things?
You know, I think I was more drawing from characters from literary history. I love books so much, and I have been known to say that acting is my wonderful day job, but this is my passion, and books are what I love more than anything. So I was very inspired by some of my literary icons. Edward Gorey was mentioned earlier by Aaron, and he was the guy who really opened this reluctant reader up to books. He has a book called The Dwindling Party, and I realized after I made this series, like, oh, this is like an ode to the dwindling party. So it was more that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, Evangeline. So many books are eventually adapted to the silver or small screen. Have you ever thought about how you would want that to go, and whether you'd want it to be on TV or movie, live action, stop motion, hand drawn, stuff like that?
I have, and of course, and I'm dying for that to be a reality. I'm actually in development, working on a package right now, but you know, it's not real until you're actually in greenlit with production. So that doesn't mean anything. Things go into development a lot and then they never happen. But it's something that I'm working on right now, and my vision for it, I have to keep a secret, because if it does happen, then I want to be able to reveal it, because it's really different. It's something that almost nobody is doing right now as far as the medium.
All right, thank you.
Very cool. Little tease right there.
I know. Sorry, I can't say more. I feel like Marvel right now.
Hi.
Bom dia, Rodrigo. Bonjour, Evangeline. First off, I just wanted to say that it's great to have you here in Toronto. And I've asked this question to Karen Gillan yesterday, and I'm asking it to you. Of all of the characters you play, or even some of the characters you've written, who would you say you find that you're most attached to, or that have left a piece with you?
It's undoubtedly Kate Austen. So I was like, yes! I lived with her for 6 years. I lived and breathed Kate, and she came out of so much of me. I find that when I look at the roles I've played over my career, it's very interesting to see me as Evangeline evolving from a young woman to an older woman to a mother to an older woman, and the changes in me are sort of, I think, reflected in the characters I play. And Kate was, in so many ways, me exercising my demons as a young woman through this character. And I was forced to stay trapped on a real island for a long time. And for this vagabond gypsy, that was a challenge. And it was just, the whole experience was very immersive. And I don't think I'll ever kick Kate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hey, hello. I have a Marvel-related question, but I just want to say the artwork in the book, it's freaking amazing. I love it.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So I'm sure you are probably asked this a lot, so I'll ask you a question about the people you work with in the Marvel Universe. Is there anybody that you are interested in collaborating with? Is there any actor that you would like to work with at all in the future? Just very hypothetical.
Just in the Marvel Universe, specifically?
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by rock stars in the Marvel Universe, so it's sort of, pick of the litter. There's just so many great people, but I have a bit of a woman crush on Denai Okoye, for those of you who... She's amazing. And the whole notion, the gossip that's been going around about doing an all-female Avengers movie, I mean, I'm in. I would love to do that, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Could someone help this young person with the microphone? Oh, you got it. All right, never mind.
Hi. This is also a Marvel-related question, but I just want to say that that I'm 10 and I think I want to start reading your book, The Squickerworks. That's what it. This
Squickerwonkers.
Squiggle. Okay, thank you.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. So which Ant-Man movie did you enjoy filming more, Ant-Man and the Wasp, or just the first Ant-Man movie?
You guys are going to be so disappointed by my answer. I enjoyed filming Ant-Man more than I enjoyed filming Ant-Man and the Wasp. And Ant-Man and the Wasp was, gosh, it was, we're Canadian, am I allowed to swear? It's like an 11-year-old who asked me the question, maybe I shouldn't. But man, it was tough. It was a tough shoot, and it was particularly tough for me because I'm controlling. And I had to share this character suddenly with an entire team of people, from a huge team of stunt people. I had 3 stunt women on the movie, with special effects team, with the editors, with the post-production team, with the producers and the director, and everybody had so much more of a say and work to do to create this character that I felt like at the end of the day I was like responsible for 25% of her. And that was so hard for me to let go of control and just say, okay, I'll trust you guys and I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. I kept kind of grasping, going, no, give her back. I wanna do it. You know, and everything, I wanna do it. I wanna do it. It's like Selma the Spoiled. I wanna do it. Oh, by the way, that's her voice in the audiobook. I did it. Available on audible.com, iTunes, and Amazon. But yeah, so Ant-Man was more fun for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Can someone help that?
Sorry.
No, just kidding.
I think I have it. Hi. Just actually open question for all 3 of you. Are you super fans of anyone else that's here at the expo right now that you want to meet or have already?
We should start with the super fan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Rodrigo.
Are you a super fan of anyone here at this con?
Yeah, all the cast from Back to the Future also.
Yeah.
Evangeline Lilly. And who else is there? The John Byrne, the guy
Yeah.
that the artist from X-Men and all this stuff. And it's like that.
I got to meet Michael J. Fox this morning, and I am not ashamed to admit that when I was a little girl, I had an enormous crush on him, almost as big as my crush on Kirk Cameron. And so that was very cool, and I'm also a big fan of Jason Momoa. I think that his way of living, just who he is something that I love and I dig, and you know, he lives close to the earth and he raises his children like little wild animals, and I love it.
Thank you.
You were supposed to answer too,
Oh, am
Aaron.
I?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I would say
Evangeline Lilly.
Back to the Future, Evangeline Lilly. And then the Back to the Future cast. Hi.
Hi, I just wanted to say first, I fell in love with Lost the moment I saw it, and I feel the same way. Like, I was a young woman who grew up, and though I was not on the island, I feel like that was a huge thing. I just finished my master's degree in communications, which I wrote on, thank you, which I wrote on Lost, specifically on the characters of Kate, Jack, and Hugo, and I wondered if I could give you a copy.
If you could, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you can give me a copy. Give me a copy.
Movement and the way you characterize her through movement, and the way that an actor chooses to move a character can really explain how that character grows.
Wow, that's incredible.
Thank you.
First of all, you're not wrong. You're right, and I choose how all of my characters will move, and that was actually what I spent the most time working on in my stunt training for Ant-Man and the Wasp. A lot of people think that I probably spent a lot of time, throwing punches and learning how to kick, and I did do that, of course. But more than that, I spent time standing in front of a mirror with 2 other stunt women and mirroring each other's movements so that we could be in sync, so that we could look identical when we moved in, and so that there would be one character instead of 3 people. And also just figuring out, I really wanted her to be feminine. I didn't want her to look like a dude fighting, because I feel very strongly that to say a woman is only strong and powerful if she acts like a man is bullshit. That we are powerful because of our femininity and not despite it. So that was something I spent a lot of time building into her, which was the complete opposite of what I did with Kate, which was, she was, all like, dude. That was Kate. And that's who she was, because she had this guard up, because her femininity had made her vulnerable when she was little. And that made her very defensive, and that created this masculine mask that I thought Sawyer and Jack were pretty good at getting behind.
Yeah. So we are winding down on time. We have time for 2 more questions, okay? But I have faith they're going to be awesome ones. Hi there.
Hi, I actually had no idea that you were an author. I came because I'm a Wasp fan, and so finding out that you're an author, it's really amazing, because I'm actually into that. I'd like to do that. So I'm kind of just interested. How did you do it? How did you advertise, publish? How did you make people interested in reading your stuff?
Well, first of all, I've given away a lot of books. And I find that people like free stuff. And then once they get a free thing and they read it, if they love it, then now now they know. And it's the hardest thing right now is we live in a media and content saturated culture. There's just so much out there. And people often ask me, "What's your favorite TV show?" And I go, "I don't have time for TV." I'm a working mom, and I have 2 careers, and I do humanitarian work and social activism, and I can't barely keep up with what's the recent stunt that the President of the United States is doing, let alone a TV show. So there's just so much that's one of the things that I've decided to do, is to give a lot of books, and that's one of the things we do at these cons, is so that people become aware of it. But as far as holy cow, the whole publishing world, I feel like it's a great big vault, and trying to get in, you gotta find the code. And I feel like a code cracker. I've just been doing number after number after number, and I'm getting there, and I'm starting to figure out what are the important things for selling a book. And if you're interested in children's book, I've started to learn that one of the really important things is appealing to the gatekeepers. And the gatekeepers are, of course, the librarians, the teachers, the parents. They want to understand, why is this book going to benefit their children? Why is this book important for kids to read? Because they take that responsibility really seriously, of being the people who are raising the next generation, and what they read, the content that they absorb, is forming who they are. And for me, I've brought back cautionary tales that I feel like have all but been abolished from children's literature. And now one of the things that I'm saying is, no, it's important to tell kids about the reality of the consequences of their actions. Instead of telling them, it doesn't matter, everything's going to turn out just fine, no matter what you do.
Yeah. Actually, when I first started looking at the books, I'm from the States, and we had what was called Scholastic Book Fairs. I don't know if they made their way up here, yeah. And
You're raising the roof.
yeah, well, and just the magic of being a little kid, going to the library and having all these books spread out, and it's really like a treasure trove of picking things up and being like, this is the thing I'm gonna fall in love with, and the magic I'm gonna have now, and add that to everything going and swirling around in my brain. I really have to say, it did capture that, and it kind of brought me back to those moments of walking into that book fair for the first time as a little kid, and it's a special experience. So just an aside, yeah. Hi.
Hey there. One of the guys took my previous question, so I had to think about it a little bit. First off, just want to welcome you back to Fan Expo. Wasn't aware you were on author until now, and very happy to see the work. Art looks phenomenal. Would love to check it out myself. My question is in regards to the A-Force question regarding about how it's like in the works, and Kevin Feige mentioning it being a possibility. If there was like, which character interaction would you love to see between Wasp and another female Marvel lead?
I'm gonna jump in just slightly and create a cushion here because like anything she says is gonna sound like speculation that's going to go live on the internet, and then suddenly it's like
God bless you.
Evangeline Lilly says, you know, such and such is in the works. So, plus, isn't it better just to like discover it and find out if that ever happens, like watch it unfold on screen instead of being teased out?
Here's what I can say to that. When I was watching Avengers Infinity War, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, leave the room now. We're almost done anyway, save yourself. There's this moment, by the way, I was at the premiere. So I was in a theater full of very enthusiastic watchers. And there was this moment where one of the female Avengers, I believe it was Scarlet Witch, is trapped in a trench, and that horrible Thanos female villain lady, I don't know what her name is, but she was gonna kill her. And she said basically something to the effect of, what are you gonna do now? You're all alone. And then what happened next? She's not alone, bitch. Sorry. And I literally got out of my seat and I was like, fuck yeah! Yeah! And it was this amazing moment with women just supporting women and that feeling in my gut. I didn't mean to. I was on my feet before I knew what was happening, and Paul Rudd's looking at me like, what are you doing? But that's what I want to see. Women supporting women.
All right. I'll tell you what, just Rodrigo, what like Marvel team up or whatever would you like to see?
You know, I have a secret to tell you. Ant-Man and the Wasp, if you see when Hope Van Dyne enter in the restaurant and talk to Sonny Birch, do you remember that part?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the waiter at the restaurant.
Oh, yeah? I didn't even know that.
So he can't say anything either, otherwise Marvel will come for him too.
I know. All right, well, there you go.
Thank you. Also, one more thing, that interview where you talked about men complaining about the tightness of suits. Yeah. Badass, just badass.
Flat today. No heels.
All right, I know I said we were out of questions, but I'm going to take one more. You're up.
Hi, guys. So I guess this is kind of a question for both of you. I just last week came to Toronto for film school, and I'm very, very excited. The Marvel movies especially were something that really inspired me. Like, I've been watching them since I was little, and just seeing superheroes on screen and knowing you can like create that is really incredible to me. So I guess because both of you are in kind of the creative industries, I guess I just want to know, like, what's one piece of advice, especially as a female in film, like what is one piece of advice you'd give to somebody like me who's really fresh and ready to go?
As somebody, just to be clear, are you interested in being an artist to make films like the art or acting, or what was that you were interested in?
I'm interested in film editing and producing.
Okay. Well, that's a
Sorry.
big question. Well, no, it's a good question. It's a big question right now.
Yeah.
Because of course, we're in the midst of this mobilization of women in Hollywood and across the continent, really. And I'm very curious to see where that's going to leave us, because I hope that if you make your dreams come true, which I'm sure you will, that the environment you step into will be very different than the environment that I stepped into 15 years ago when I started in the industry. What I've seen from a lot of female filmmakers and producers is a hardening that's happened because they have had to not just keep up with the boys in the boys club, but they've had to so far exceed their talent and intelligence in order just to be given a modicum of respect. And so there's this hardening, this to get where they've gotten to, it's been very, very difficult. And I really hope that one day you and I might meet each other on a film, and you'll tell me the story about getting a job and it all just feeling very normal for a female to walk into a place and say, I want to make movies.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, we have reached the end of the panel. However, Rodrigo and Evangeline are here the rest of the day. And so there is still time to go check them out and pick up a book, get an autograph, and all that good stuff. So the fun doesn't have to end yet. And on that note, Fan Expo Canada, you guys are awesome, and I want you to make a heck of a lot of noise for these guys up here. Give it up for Rodrigo and Evangeline!
Thank you for watching the Convention Junkies coverage of Fan Expo Canada 2018. Join the conversation below with a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more. If you would like to help us with future projects, please visit our Patreon page.